Well. Happy Friday. Long time no see, my friends. I am so stoked to be back with you guys for another Dividend Happy Hour. It has been too long. Hope everyone had a really good week. It was kind of an eventful week, to say the least, but glad you guys all could make it. Looks like there's about 50 of us in the chat here tonight. Why don't we kick this thing off the best way we know how, with a quick cheers here. So grab whatever you're sipping, guys. Tonight I got something a little bit different. Talk about it in just a moment, but let me crack this bad boy open. Grab whatever you're sipping on, whether you got your milk, your water, your tequila, a little margarita, maybe some of you out there, or an energy drink if you're Chris here. And here's to you guys. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in with me tonight. It's been way too long, and good to be back, though. Good to be back. So here's to you guys, and also here's to the pursuit of the dividends. Here's to the pursuit of that sweet, sweet cash flow. But anyway, guys, cheers. Let me know a few things here in the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching the replay. Number one, how do we do this? What's the order? See, I don't do this for a week, then I forget the order. So number one, what did you buy this week? I want to know what you added to your portfolio, which stocks you picked up. I think I've got an idea of what a lot of you guys picked up this week. It's probably the same thing as myself. So let me know that. Number two, what are you sipping on tonight? What did you bring to drink to the Dividend Happy Hour? Personally speaking, I'm doing something a little different, kind of straying from the usual Coke Zero. Tonight, I've got myself a diet, actually a Dr. Pepper Zero Creamy Coconut. I think this is like a limited flavor or something like that, but it's really good. It's really delicious. So I'd highly recommend it. And also number three, let me know, did anything cool happen in your guys' portfolio this week? Did you guys hit any new milestones? Maybe you hit, maybe you reached $10,000 in your portfolio. Maybe you hit 100 shares of SCHD, anything like that. Maybe 100 shares of Starbucks. Some of you guys out there, I know some of you guys went in pretty deep to the Bucks this week. So yeah, let me know what's been going on here in the live chat. Love to put some of your guys' accomplishments up here on the screen. Now let's go up here in the chat. I want to see who we got in the building tonight. Oh, the first thing I notice here is my man Antonio El Dynamico says, "You look like you're gaining weight, Mr. Married Man." I'm actually not. I'm actually been losing weight. I'm interestingly enough, I'm down about 1.5 pounds since the wedding, which is weird. I was kind of plateauing there for a bit, but after a little diet break, definitely was eating good last week. But yeah, since coming back, the weight's just kind of melting off. So really good to see. But and also, kind of while we're on the subject of wedding stuff, thank you guys so much for all of the congratulatory wishes. Thank you guys for everything. Seriously, it was a really fun weekend. We can get into it. I can tell you guys a little bit about it later here in the stream. But yeah, really fun last week. It's taken me kind of a few days to get back in the swing of things, but yeah, what a week to come back to. Such a wild week on the market. But anyway, let me give some shout outs here. We got Antonio. I already said what's up to you, man. Adon's here. Good to see you, Adon. We've got Fast Eddie. Yes, first show since getting married. You guys see I officially rocking a little extra piece of jewelry here tonight. You guys know I got the watch, but now I got the watch in the ring. So it's kind of cool wearing this thing, actually. But yeah, first time. And actually, speaking of first times, if this is any of your guys' first time to the Dividend Happy Hour, welcome aboard. So stoked to have you in here tonight. We usually do this live stream every Friday night from starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll run it for about an hour, but sometimes you guys get me going in the live chat and we ramble on a little bit longer. But tonight's not going to be one of those nights. I got some plans after the stream ends, so we'll try to get out of here as promptly as possible after the hour. But yeah, if this is your first time here, welcome aboard. Would love to see you back, and I hope you enjoy the stream. But let's keep going here. I see Phil Doe. Good to see you, my friend. We've got Kevin, the backdoor assassin, wary from his adventures navigating the St. Pauli Girl caverns. West of the Badlands of Reno, he kept the satchel closely to his side. Ooh, Kevin, man. What are you drinking over there? That's what I want to know. Chris, good to see you, man. Joyce, Ja, happy Friday, my friend. Peter, good to see you. Mitchell in the building. We got Andy. Good to see you, Andy. Pat. Yes, Pat. Pat, did you see my email from about 30 minutes ago? Thank you for the email, by the way. And one of my favorite things too, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. One of my favorite things is getting emails from you guys. So a lot of you guys are really good about responding to the newsletter. But if you ever want to just reach out and say what's up. I don't know where you can, my email, if you just go over to my channel, my email is right there, but it's ryan@retirewithryan.com. I'd love to hear from you guys if you ever want to just say what's up. There we go. Coyote Sunglasses celebrating Cinco de Mayo with an iced down 32-ounce Victoria with a dash of Tajín. Delicious stuff. Delicious stuff. Me and the lady were talking. It might be a margarita weekend. Might have to do it. Celebrate the holiday. We got Big Bad Jack Murphy in the building. Jack, hope you're doing well, man. Shamir, greetings, my friend. Good to see you, Shamir. Shamizzle. That's what Shamir is. Shamir's always needed a nickname, and I think that's going to be the one, unless you guys have any better ideas. Shamizzle. We're going to rock with that. Let me know what you think of that one, Shamir. Let's see. We got Mitchell sipping on JPM Dividend. Good stuff. JP Morgan. Nice. We've got nieces and nephews in the building. I see Citizen of the Year. Good to see you, my friend. We got Haas. Welcome back. Like Mace. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. Yeah, man. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. We got Lucas here. Oliver. Cheers. Drinking some coffee. Good stuff. Rolly drinking a Celsius. Very nice. Okay. I know. Mountain High. I think we're getting to the part in the chat here where we're getting into some of the buys. I was very interested to see what you guys picked up this week. So I personally bought some Starbucks. I think a lot of you guys did as well. We'll find out what's going on with this as we continue scrolling down in the chat. But I'm guessing Mountain High, you bought some Starbucks. Yeah, Phil bought some Starbucks here. We got Alien Head, first time in the building. Mitchell says, what happened to Stanley Black and Decker this week? I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that. We'll come back to that after we get caught up here in the chat. Remind me to take a look at Stanley Black and Decker because I'm not sure. In fact, just so I don't forget, let me pull it up over here on Seeking Alpha. We'll take a look. Okay. Let's see. Oliver bought some Microsoft and Texas Roadhouse. Very nice. Let's see. I see Michael here bought Starbucks, Apple, and Intel. Apple had a nice pop today. And Intel's really been coming back down. I think Intel's now hovering at about $30 a share now, right? Yeah, interesting. Very interesting to see just how that stock moves. We got Pat here, picked up some Realty Income Main Street, who's been on fire, along with some SCHD. Very nice. We got Clayton here, SCHD, VTI, and Johnson & Johnson. Janice, JepQ, and sipping a chai latte. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, Shamizzle says Texas Roadhouse continues to skyrocket. Oh, there we go. This is kind of a cool milestone, guys. Wing Addiction bought Coca-Cola, Realty Income, Main Street, and Starbucks. So nice shopping spree there, but crossed $1,200 per year in dividends. You are officially at $100 per month, my friend. 3 figures. Welcome to the club. That's fantastic. That's a really cool milestone. Man, $100. You could let's see. What could you do with $100 every single month? You could probably maybe pay your phone bill, probably pay your electricity bill or your utilities, stuff like that. You might be able to pay some insurance, perhaps. I don't know. You could, that may be a week of groceries. For me, that's about 2 weeks of groceries. So that's pretty cool. You know, that's a pretty nice date night right there. $100. You do go to some pretty nice places for 2 with $100. You could do a lot with $100 per month. So great job. That's fantastic. Let's see. There we go. CAs says main purchases were 8 shares of CVS, which also had kind of a rough week, as well as 6 shares of Starbucks. There we go. Jack bought some Starbucks today as well. Yeah, Starbucks. I had a feeling Starbucks was going to be a hot commodity, but I'm also seeing kind of a lot of JepQ, interestingly enough. So 19 shares of JepQ from Gordito here. Realty Income seems to be another pretty popular one. We got Craig here in the building. Thanks for tuning in, man. Happy to see you. Hope you're doing well. All some great stocks and ETFs right there. Starbucks, AEP, and DGRO sipping on a Corona. You can have any beer you want, long as it's a Corona. Who said it? I mean, I butchered the impression, but let me know if you know the line in the chat here. Yeah, I see some more Starbucks, Visa here. Yeah, CVS, Apple. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, man. Sipping a Kentucky Mule. Interesting. So is that like I'm guessing that's just probably like a Moscow Mule, but with bourbon instead of what's usually in a Moscow Mule. Is it vodka? So I'm guessing you just put some bourbon in there. That's cool. Let's see. Let's keep going. Yeah. You guys went on some nice shopping sprees this week. Good job. Oh, this sounds delicious, actually. So Johnson and Johnson, good stuff. And coconut rum and pineapple juice. That sounds really, really good, actually. You know what, too? I bet some rum would go really well with this creamy coconut Dr. Pepper. I think that'd be a good mix. Oh, interesting. Okay, so J&B here, sipping a little A&W, so some root beer, but sold out of Southern Company for a smooth $500 gain. Wow, and is now at 113 shares of Starbucks. Nice job. Yeah, Southern Company is an interesting one. I mean, Southern Company is definitely one of those slow and steady ones. I think, well, they just announced a dividend increase of about 3%, I believe. And I think that's either their 22nd or 23rd year of increases. So Southern Company is a pretty reliable one. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, we'll see what happens with Starbucks here in the short term. Long term, I feel probably no surprise to say, but feel pretty good about it from a long-term perspective. But we'll see what happens with it in the short term. We could see a few more bumpy quarters. And the events that went down this week certainly did not help inspire confidence in the management team, which is understandable. But yeah, let's see where it goes. But I'm glad you locked in some gains on Southern Company, and yeah, wish you guys the best, all of you guys the best with Starbucks as well. So I think it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but I think they'll pull through. Julius Caesar, yeah, Chris says all you need is the chain now, chain and the grill. I know. What watch are you wearing? I'm just wearing a Seiko. It's the Seiko. I don't remember the model number, but it's like just a Seiko 5, pretty basic one. But this is like my go-to watch. Oh, this is cool. I'm not going to say your name because it's got a bad word in it, and I don't use those. I try not to on the channel. Hit $500 a month in dividends for the first time since starting a portfolio in 2018. Wow, that's great. $500 in 1 month. That's like a car payment and car insurance right there. That's great. Imagine when you get to a point where it's $500 every single month. You know, that's $6,000 a year. Man, that will feel very cool. Keep climbing. That's awesome. Oh, nice. Benny had a nice little milestone here too. 250 shares of Johnson & Johnson. That's incredible. There we go. There we go. Roland says, can you shout out Pamela? Don't be scared to invest. We got you on Big TV. Pamela, just go for it. You got this. Get in there. You can do it. Pamela, if I can do it, you can do it. Let's get in there. I want to hear next week in next week's happy hour that you started investing. Future Pamela will thank you. And real quick, guys, I'm sorry I missed this. I missed this super chat from Alberto for geez, too much money. Albert, man. Thank you so much. $100. That's, I think, the largest super chat I've ever received. But thank you, my friend. You're too kind. And you did not have to do that. But thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I don't think I was behind in the chat. I was almost there. I was almost to that point. But Albert, thank you. I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. Yeah. Mr. Cotter. Yeah. So Mace sampled it, right? But good song. Classic Mace. Ooh, this is a really good question, guys. So Zero to Hero wants to know, how do you balance investing goals with personal life? I'm actually going to screenshot this because this would be a really good question to answer in the newsletter too. Thank you for asking. How do you balance investing goals with personal life / carefree spending? It's tough. I think the hardest part is not, well, let me say this. I think it's hard to have balance. I think a lot of us investors are pretty good about not doing a lot of frivolous spending. And I think a lot of us would very much rather just put as much money as we can into our portfolios, and that's a tough thing to that's a tough habit to crack, just not wanting to spend money on anything and living like a hermit. And it's tough to establish that balance. But I will say, I don't know, actually, I'm kind of stumped because this is a really tough question. I think it's sometimes you have to force yourself to um be okay with doing a little carefree spending. Not saying that you should go out and seek it, but if you go out to dinner every once in a while, or if you want to buy yourself a little something or go shopping or whatever every once in a while, I think, it's not a big deal. I mean, I think there's a fine line between over, I think there's certainly a point where you can overdo it, right? But I just don't think a lot of investors have, I don't think that's a problem for a lot of investors. I think the opposite's the problem. So you kind of have to pull yourself out of not spending on anything. I know there was a point, especially early on in my investing journey, like right when I was first getting into the stuff and really, really stoked about it. I'm still really stoked about it. But when you first get into this stuff, it's like I don't know, it's like you're finally awake and you've seen the light. You're finally awake and you see the light. And at that point, all you want to do is just read about investing. All you want to do is buy stocks. You don't want to spend money on anything. You're going to give up everything just to put up all your money into your portfolio. And so I think you kind of need to pull yourself out of that. And I went through a phase, I think, where I was like frustrated to spend money on anything else. I was like, no, can't do X, Y, and Z, because it's like, if I spend $20 here, it's like just thinking about what that money could grow into 20 years from now. And yeah, it's something that you just have to pull yourself out of. It's hard, but you you just I don't know. You have to force yourself to find the balance, I suppose. And how I've come to terms with it is, I think, if as long as I'm like contributing to my portfolio, it's growing at a good pace. As long as I'm taking care of that, and I'm prioritizing that, which I certainly do, as long as that's happening, and I'm still able to save and whatever, then it's okay to do these things, and it's okay to do these other things and spend money in these other places every once in a while. Um, I know I'm kind of rambling on it, but it is a really tough question to answer. And the best answer I have, just to close the book on this, is like, you have to force yourself to find that balance, because if you don't force yourself to try and be okay with spending money on things that aren't related to investing, if you don't do that, it's just, yeah, it makes the journey longer, in my opinion. Yeah, it makes the journey longer. So you'll get to where you're going. You'll get to where you're going, and it's okay to go to In-N-Out Burger or Juan Slam fajitas, or do a staycation on the Strip, or whatever that looks like for you. No, don't overdo it. And it's okay to go to Starbucks every once in a while too, but don't overdo it, So just, I don't know. That probably didn't answer your question that probably didn't do your question justice. So I apologize. So, this is a really good question. So I've been seeing this comment a lot, and this comes from Joseph Carlson's video talking about Starbucks, which is a really good video. But basically, this was something that he's been saying, I suppose. It was his Starbucks video was the first time I'd heard him say it. I'm sure he said it other times. But now there's this idea going around that there's been this caffeine bubble, where now there's just so many different options of caffeinated things that you can consume, from different coffee brands and coffee companies and stores, to energy drinks, to supplements like pre-workouts. There's so many different ways to consume caffeine. But at this point, I don't know that I have any serious thoughts about it being a bubble. I think maybe this isn't the best comparison, but I think you could say the same is true with alcohol. Like, think of beer, for example. Think of how popular like craft beer and craft breweries have become over the last handful of years. I've noticed this. There's not only beer, but seltzers, canned cocktails, different spirits. I feel like there's a new tequila brand, a new tequila company coming out every single day. And maybe those are in a bubble as well. I don't really know. Maybe there's a fast food bubble. Maybe there's so many different options of fast food places you can go. Um, but this whole caffeine bubble thing, at least at this point, is not something I'm necessarily concerned about. I think that there are people who prefer to drink a Celsius. I think there are people who will prefer to drink Starbucks. I think there are people who prefer to drink Dutch Bros. So I don't know. I don't really have any serious thoughts about the whole bubble thing. Okay. What do you guys think about that, though? I'm curious. I want to put it back on you guys, especially those of you who've seen the video. What do you guys think about that? Think about all that stuff. Let's see. Okay. Stanley Black and Decker. We were going to talk about that. We'll take a break from the chat real quick. I'll put the pause button here. Let's jump over and see what's been happening with Stanley Black and Decker. So Mitchell here says Stanley beat on earnings and revenue, but got crushed. I own 99 shares. My buddy owns 111. So let's jump over here, guys. Take a look at Seeking Alpha here, which, by the way, guys, if you've ever wanted to check out Seeking Alpha, the free version is fantastic. If you've ever wanted to use the premium version, which gives you access to basically all the articles, all the news, there's no cap on them, and some other features as well. You can try it. There's a free 7-day trial. There's a link to it in the description. Definitely worth checking out. As you guys know, I use this with, it's in pretty much all my videos. I use Seeking Alpha pretty incessantly, so it's certainly been worth it in my opinion. But let's see what's been going on with Stanley Black and Decker. So here's their earnings announcements right here, right? So let's go look here. So Stanley Black and Decker beats top line and bottom line estimates. Okay, so revenue and earnings both beat. Revenue was down 1.5% year over year. That's not the end of the world. Okay, so is Stanley Black and Decker's GAAP PE 40? I always like to start with the comments here, just see what people are saying. Solid quarter. Management continues to execute the cost reduction plan ahead of schedule, pay down debt, and clear out excess inventory. Stanley Black and Decker is kind of a sidebar. Stanley Black and Decker did really well during the pandemic. From what I remember, they were doing pretty well, and then as we came out of that, it seemed like they'd kind of taken a downturn. Yeah. So once things really started opening up, seems like Stanley Black and Decker started to decline. So, okay. So recently though, they dropped after earnings. So what was it after their earnings? What was it about their earnings that made them drop rather? Maybe, okay, this is what it is. So Stanley Black and Decker hit 6-month low on uncertain demand. The stock fell as much as 9.5% to a 6-month low after the maker of tools reported a decline in sales. So that's probably what it was. Even though they beat on expectations, they still saw a year-over-year decline in sales. Not by much though, 1.5%. Okay. But they did see a profit this quarter, which I think there was one quarter, right? Where maybe this is it right here. Back here, there were a few quarters actually where they had negative earnings. Okay. And they're expecting mixed demand moving forward. Guys, this is so good. Okay. So that seems to be pretty much it. Just the decline in sales, maybe some mixed demand, which we're probably, we kind of saw that with Starbucks as well, right? Talking about the occasional customer. So it seems like there's a lot of companies that may be impacted by just consumer spending, which is no surprise. I feel like this is something we've been kind of talking about for a long time now. It seems like it was only a matter of time before it gets to this point where maybe the consumer felt tapped out. And I'm really talking out on my butt right now. It's pretty much all I do. But yeah, it seems to be the trend going into this earnings season. What happened with, one company I wanted to see, what happened with Texas Roadhouse, actually, TXRH. I think they just recently reported their earnings too, right? So, okay, they actually bucked the trend here. Looks like. Look at this. Good for them. So, wow, their year-over-year revenue was up 13%. Okay, comp restaurant sales increased 9%. That's great. Wow. Positive comp sales for 2024. Store week growth of 8%. Cool. Wow. Good for them. Good for them. Excuse me, guys. It is a little toasty in here. Gotta do a little of that. It's definitely feeling like summertime here in Las Vegas. I'll tell you what. Let's keep going. Let's keep going here in the chat. Okay. Yeah, Mountain High. $100. I spend about $50 a week, just me individually. I mean, between my lady and myself, it's usually $100 to $120 in groceries for us every week. We eat pretty simply. We're like chicken and rice, chicken and broccoli, ground turkey, eggs, egg whites, those sort of things. We eat pretty clean at home. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables. So yeah, it's pretty affordable for us to get in and out of the grocery store. So between the two of us, it's usually $100 to $120 per week. So 50 to 60 per week. Really not bad. Okay, let's go. Let's see. Oh, there you go, Kevin. I'm supporting Brown-Forman tonight. Love it. I actually did. So what are you drinking? Are you drinking some Old Forester? You got some, that's what it's called, right? Old Forester. I did some research. Yeah, Old Forester. I was doing some research into Brown-Forman not too long ago. Just they also have what's the tequila they have? El Jimador. I think I said that right. I think it's that one. Yeah, I was looking into Brown-Forman for a minute. I was just kind of interested in looking into something like that, but I don't know. Ultimately, I decided to not get into it. Let's see. There you go. Someone got it. A little Vin Diesel from earlier. I know, but it always comes out sounding like Sylvester Stallone. I know. Dan the man, welcome to the Mary Club. Thank you, my friend. I'm very happy to be part of the club. Very happy. So Mark here says, I don't understand Realty Income. The share price has been down considerably for a long time. Well, yeah, I mean, interest rates just, they have a decent impact on real estate investment trusts. They're not certainly not the only REIT whose share price has been coming down. We've pretty much been seeing that across the board, but Realty Income has been started to become out of favor for a lot of investors. A lot of investors are looking at Realty Income as being, its best days are behind it. It's not going to grow a lot in the future. It's too big. It's going to be harder for them to move the needle. And I certainly think there's some truth to that. And a lot of people are more so opting for something like Agree Realty. They call it Realty Income's little brother, or something like Vici Properties, which is different, but perhaps more growth, certainly more growth from Vici, at least so far. But still, I think Realty Income is such a, like, if you're looking for the maximum amount of growth, Realty Income's probably not going to be the one for you. But I think Realty Income's such a stable, such a strong sleep well at night company that I think if you're looking for stability and dependability, I think Realty Income's really good for that. So it's just one of those companies you don't have to worry about. But it's certainly not for everyone. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Keep going. So I'm about 15 minutes behind in the chat. I'm definitely going to get caught up here. Let's see. Sorry, guys. So we got about 30 minutes here left in the chat. It's going by quick. It always goes by too quick. Okay, so in terms of this is really good. So some of you guys are saying, some of you guys are talking about, how to balance investing with, spending on normal people stuff. And Oliver here says, I invest every week. I take care of bills first and invest as much as I can. There's a great way to do it, though. 75% of your income is bills and living expenses, 15% investing, and 10% into savings. So that's how Oliver breaks it down. Nice little mix there. Daniel here says, every time I get paid, I invest first, then pay bills. And once that's done, I feel broke and lose the urge to spend money. There you go. Here's interesting. So Mike says, Ryan, I'm 29, no house, no job, no girlfriend, no direction in life, and still a virgin. But I got 350K USD and drive a 20K, $20,000 car. Am I a loser? I don't know, man. You are what you convince yourself to be. So what do you think? Let's see. John Jay talking about some watches. Let's see. There we go. Shannon, happy early anniversary. 18 years coming up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hope you guys have a fun Cinco de Mayo. That's kind of a fun, that's a fun anniversary for sure. I think he's just being facetious with this. But hey, if you're not though, you're not a loser. And 350K at 29 years old, very impressive. Dominique says, my apartment is getting emptier every week. 104 days until my retirement. My flight is in 155 days. How are you doing? Dominique, that's awesome, man. The days are definitely getting down there. It's really coming up quick. So basically about 3.5 more months for you till you're retired. That's so May, June, July, August. So maybe we're looking at, I don't know what the exact date's going to be, but sometime mid-August, right? That's about when you're retiring. And that's fantastic. And remind me here in the chat, where are you going again? I know it's oh gosh, I feel like it's like Thailand or something like that. But remind me where you're going. Yeah, talking about Starbucks here. I want to know what you guys think about the bubble here. So let's go through some of these Starbucks things. So El Dynamico says there's a rumor that customers just don't care about the value that Starbucks offers. If that were to be the case, then yes, Starbucks is overpriced. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Starbucks should lower their prices. I would, as a customer, I certainly wouldn't mind that. Let's see. Oliver says Starbucks has a lot of debt. Not something I really want to own personally. Wish you guys the best, though. Best who own it, though. I think there's better options out there, perhaps. And with that said, too, like at least in this industry, I probably know the answer to this, but in the restaurant industry, if you guys had to pick just one, which company would you go with? Think about all the different restaurant stocks out there. If you guys had to pick just one, and you can obviously, but in this hypothetical situation, you got to pick just one. Which one are you going with? I'm curious to know. Kevin says companies that depend on China to grow are in for a tough few years. Certainly. Oh, Peter says, can you tell me what you think about Walgreens Boots Alliance? I'm 18%, and want to know what you think about that stock. And do you think there's possibility the stock goes up? Let's take a look at WBA. I feel like I talked about this one somewhat recently, and I've got to say it's never been one of my favorite companies. So interesting that PE ratio is so low, 5.4. Just out of curiosity, where is that in relation to the 5-year average? So the 5-year average is pretty low too, 8.5. So it's still about 30, almost 36% below that. Price to book, trading pretty much right at its price to book. Price to cash flow 4. Did they officially cut their dividend? Yes, they did. They did. That's right. So let's take a quick spin into Walgreens' financials here. So revenue seems to be, revenue's doubled pretty much over the last 10 years. Almost doubled. What about the profits though? I remember it. Yeah, this is what I remember. Okay. So gross profit margins are declining. That's something you never want to see. The operating margins also declining as well, to the point where they could even soon have a negative operating margin. And it looks like so far that's the case here with net income, at least this last year. Maybe if we zoom in though, looking at things on a quarterly basis, maybe that was just one quarter. So no, looks like there's been a couple quarters where they've had negative earnings. So that's kind of a bummer. Shares outstanding have been pretty flat. So seeing the negative earnings, this coincides with when they cut the dividend right here. So yeah, well, almost coincides almost perfectly, I guess. I guess they cut it just a couple months ago, last quarter. Wow. Okay. So 3 quarters of negative earnings. So that in itself is a pretty big red flag to me. If I was looking at this company, just maybe even considering it, even just seeing this right here, just from what we've seen here on the income statement, the declining gross profit margins, declining operating margins, declining net income margin, and now negative margins. This would be enough to turn me off of this company. And I mean, the earnings per share is just pretty non-existent. So if it was me personally, I wouldn't even look at it past this. I would just move on, just based on that right there. So, but some people, just based on what the analysts are saying, or some of the Seeking Alpha contributors, it looks like all year people have been feeling bullish about Walgreens. So one of the best value picks, strategic pivot, new management team, it can see upside. So, maybe there's something to it that I'm missing, and maybe they're changing directions. I haven't kept tabs on it enough to know exactly what's going on. So, but maybe there's something there. Maybe not all hope is lost. That's something you'll have to dig a little bit deeper into and see what's going on there, if that makes sense. Yeah, Sage here says, let him keep crashing Snap-on or bust. Snap-on was kind of an interesting one. If we go back over here to Seeking Alpha. So Snap-on, I thought they actually, well, they saw a decline in their tools segment, but revenue was flat, but their free cash flow was up. Their earnings were up, I believe. Let's see if we can let's go look at the presentation. It'll probably show us here. Okay, there we go. So earnings per share was up year over year, up 6%. Revenue here was flat though. Where is it? Net sales actually decreased a little bit year over year by 0.1%, a tenth of a percent. So nothing crazy there. And we really saw it in the tools segment here from what I remember. Yeah, so there was about a 7% decline in the tools segment here. Margins were up though. Well, gross profit margins in this segment were up. Operating margins were down a little bit. But I want to show you guys the debt and the cash flows real quick. So free cash flow was up a kind of a considerable amount, actually. Definitely a big jump here in cash from operations, the operating cash flow. And I believe they paid down some debt as well. So yeah, look at that, guys. The net debt was cut in less than half year over year, or actually quarter over quarter, excuse me. So at the end of December, they had about $200 million in net debt. Now, at the end of March, at the end of this most recent quarter, they only have $80 million in net debt. So I think Snap-on came out of this ahead. But still, if you guys remember, let's go back over here. Well, if you guys keep tabs on this, you'll remember Snap-on after their earnings, they went from about 280 to a low of about 260 in share price, and now they're sitting at 270. But yeah, in the last month, they're down 7%, 7.5%. Year to date, they're down 6%. And so I would not mind a little drop either, or more of a drop, excuse me. Ooh, this is a good question from Josh. Are you going to do anything special for episode 100? Yeah, I think maybe I don't know. Actually, do you guys have any ideas? I think we should do something special. We're coming up on, at the sometime next month we'll be at episode 100. So do you guys have any ideas? Anything special we can do? I think that I'll probably have make a margarita or something for that stream. I think that's a special enough occasion. 100 episodes, that's wild. But yeah, do you guys have any ideas? Is there anything we should do? Let me know. Let's keep going here. Wow, this is cool. Salvatore, I crossed $1,000 a year in dividends this week and finally got my account over 40K. Great job, my friend. That's awesome. Keep it up. So, Sir Dude Bro, man, in the building. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Yeah, John J., can you look up Brown-Forman and put it up on the screen? Their share price is lower than the depth of the pandemic. Why is that? And is this a buying opportunity? So let's go over here to Brown-Forman. So yeah, they are about to where they were at their pandemic lows there. But I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what's causing this drop. I mean, they've been at a pretty steady decline, it looks like, since kind of like what we saw with Stanley Black and Decker, where I guess it started really more so here, where once we kind of came out of the pandemic, the share price just steadily, was steadily declining. Let's take a look at the financials and see if maybe that'll tell us something. Let's look at the annual. I mean, quarterly's fine. Quarterly was fine. But so I don't really know. I'm not exactly sure what's causing the share price drop. I didn't really get that far into my research with them. But it looks like throughout this, since 2021, when they were still, going up, their sales continue to increase, and it looks like their sales now are in a good spot. As of the most recent quarter, I mean, sales quarter over or year over year are down, quarter over quarter are down as well, not by much though. Let's see what's happening with their margins. So margins are, gross profit margins are pretty steady, throughout the last handful of quarters. It looks like the operating margins, actually, I would say for the most part too, this is pretty steady as well, because there's, the most recent quarter about 24, but there's been periods too over the last couple of years where it's been 28, 27, 26. I guess that's really more 28. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not exactly sure what's causing the share price declines here. You guys may have more insight on that in the live chat. Some of you guys may have studied this company a bit closer than I have. What's going on with the cash flow? So this could be something. The free cash flow is kind of all over the place. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe if we look at this annually, that'll tell a different story here. So I don't know. Maybe. In 2021 and 2022, the cash flow was up, but in 2023, it was really down. So I don't know. Maybe you guys have some more insight on that here in the chat, but at this time, I don't have a good answer for you as to why why Brown-Forman has been seeing declines. And just for a little more context into this company, just taking a look at some of the brands they own. So they own a ton of different alcohol brands. They're most known for, I think, Old Forester is their most popular one. Well, no, I guess Jack Daniels would be their most popular one. Jack Daniels, Herradura, definitely butchered that. A tequila, Woodford Reserve. Yeah, and then Old Forester here. But yeah, these are all the whiskeys they have. Tequila, just these two, rum. And I'll be honest, like most of these I actually have not heard of. I've heard of all of these whiskeys. Well, at least these top three here, these are pretty popular. I'm familiar with both of these tequilas, but these other ones, Diplomatico, both of the gins here. Chambord, I actually have some Chambord here at the house. Wine, I didn't really know. So I don't know. Maybe they just don't have like a strong enough portfolio of brands. Maybe that's something that's bringing it down. I mean, Jack Daniels is pretty timeless. Old Forester, I think, is like one of the oldest distilleries in the United States. There's some unique history to that company that I'm not remembering. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of stumped on that. No, I didn't think he was a loser. I thought he was being facetious. I'm still think he's being facetious. That's why I kind of responded with a facetious response. But if that wasn't facetious, if you were being serious about that, then I apologize. You're not a loser at all. Not at all. This is a good question too. Do you ever wonder if you're spending too much time investing and not enjoying life as much as you would like to? I mean, I really enjoy investing, and I also really enjoy a lot of things outside of investing. So I don't know, but I do think it's good to get away from the spreadsheets for a while. I definitely think it's good to have balance and do some other things and have other hobbies. So, and I think all of us do. We're all multifaceted human beings. I think we all probably have other interests. So, oh, got another super chat here from Giovanni. Any thoughts on ROST? Man, now I feel really bad about saying that to Mike. I apologize. I did not mean to be a jerk about that or be any type of way. So I apologize. Ross Stores is what we're looking at here. Let me put it up on the screen. So Ross Stores, what is going on with these guys? They are a dividend payer. I don't have them on the watch list. So where do we start here? So share price movement has been pretty good. Let's take a look at let's look at the dividend stats here first. So classic dividend growth stock, low starting yield, low payout ratio, pretty moderate 5-year growth rate, nice dividend growth. Well, 2 years of dividend growth history. Looks like 2020, they paused it for a couple quarters, or basically for a year. From March 2022, 2021, they didn't pay it. But since then, it's grown. It's like they didn't even skip a beat. They just brought it back to where it was and kept growing it from there. So that seems to be okay. Looking at the financials, though, 2020 or 2021 was a rough year for them, but otherwise the revenue growth looks pretty steady. Gross profit looks steady. I mean, yeah, other than that 1 year, everything looks pretty steady. Margins have stabilized or are stable all the way down. Yeah, and they're buying back shares. I'd say this, I mean, at a glance here, this looks pretty decent. Have a lot of cash right now, it looks like. What's the debt situation looking like? Okay. So not bad. $875 million of net debt against, I mean, they can pay that with their net income, no problem. Looks like they can pay it all off and then some with their free cash flow. So I'd say debt situation looks pretty good. Cash, how's the cash flow trending? Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I'd say this looks pretty decent. I'd say this looks, yeah, looks. And now is Ross just Ross, or do they own some other stores as well? Um, Ross and Didi's. Okay, not as familiar with Didi's, and I did not know they were headquartered in Dublin. Wow. Yeah, I think this looks fine. I think this looks like a fine company. I guess its competitor would be something like TJ Maxx, right? I think we'll probably see that pop up here. I mean, you've got these two, but these are like Ross's discount. Abercrombie's not necessarily discount. American Eagle's not really discount. I don't know about Burlington. Gap can kind of sort of be, but I would say this is more its closer competitor. And I may be more partial to something like TJ Maxx. I don't know though. You also have Nordstrom, which has Nordstrom Rack, but also a little different. Based on the dividend stats, these look better. Um, yeah, I mean, similar growth trends here on the income statement as well. The margins here, at least so far, are better at the gross profit margins. Operating margin looks similar. Net income margin looks pretty similar. Similarly, they're buying back shares, so there does appear to be some similarities between the two. But yeah, I think Ross looks pretty decent. $6.9 billion net debt. Yeah, I still think that this debt situation looks fine. Free cash flow is very steady throughout the years. So yeah, I think that's a fine looking company. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left here. Actually, about 8. I'm gonna really scroll down here in the chat. Todd here says, "What website are you using to screen Walgreens?" This is Seeking Alpha over here. Seeking Alpha. Love me some Seeking Alpha. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we're talking about the 100th episode. Root Beer says buy 100 shares of a stock. That's an option. Probably won't do that one. That sounds pretty pricey. Live from Rick. There you go. I don't think they have a location here in Vegas. We have things that are comparable, but not the same. Eric says your top 10 best ETFs next. 10 dividend stocks to review rest of 2024. Ooh, Michael says make it a walk to 100. Man, I'd be sweating bullets here at this time of day. Trying to walk and stream. Dividend game special. Okay. Call-ins for the 100th episode. I feel like we kind of do like a call-in thing type here in the live chat. I think it's kind of similar. I like this idea. Have Russ on the stream. That'd be fun. And by the way, guys, I'm planning on going on Kevin Burgess's stream on Monday night. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've been able to chat with Kevin. So you guys should definitely tune into that. Let's see. Top 100 dividend stocks, man. There we go. I think this is the one, guys. Take 100 shots. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Can't help it. But I mean, which outside of Starbucks, which companies are you referring to? I'd be curious to know. Brandon here. We'll make this one of the last comments of the night. Is there any chance you could look into Flowers Foods? Yes, we'll take a look. And I've checked this one out before. It's never really stood out to me. First, I want to see what their lineup of brands are. Dave's Killer Bread. I see that right here. Nature's Own. Okay, Nature's Own, Dave's Killer Bread, Wonder Bread. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with a lot of these brands here. I do know Home Pride. Are these all breads? Bunny bread, tortillas, bread, bread, dessert, bread and buns. Okay. The only thing I know, I mean, we buy Nature's Own sometimes. The only thing I know about Dave's Killer Bread is that it's just so expensive. Okay, but let's take a look at what's going on here. So looking at the dividend stats, 3.68% yield. That's nice, with a moderate 5-year growth rate and 10 years of growth. So pretty solid dividend stats. 21 years of straight dividend payments. And this all looks really good. I mean, that's what you want to see. Looking at the financials, I would imagine it's a relatively slow grower. It does look like the revenue growth has picked up in recent years. So that's good to see. Yeah, margin's about 50%. Gross profit margin's about 50%. Okay. Looks like the net income margin for the most part's pretty, it's pretty steady there. Earnings per share seems like it's kind of trending down-ish, maybe. At best, it's kind of flat. And the shares outstanding have been pretty much flat over the last 10 years too. So the payout ratio's over 100%. So we got the earnings per share right here. We got the dividend per share right here. So that's not great. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's happening on the balance sheet. How are they paying that dividend? I mean, debt's not really. Actually, I guess debt is kind of going up. Pretty decent jump in net debt last year. 1.3 billion. Okay, 300 million. I mean, this is kind of high for them in terms of free cash flow. If they were able to maintain about this right here, the debt situation doesn't look too bad. But if this about 100 million to 200 million is the norm, it's maybe a little bit more questionable, especially when you see the, well, okay, what's the free cash flow payout ratio here? So free cash flow per share, trailing 12 months, $1.04. Okay, so the free cash flow payout ratio is still less than 100%. Where's the dividend per share? So right here. Okay, so it's still covered by free cash flow, which is good. So I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings about. I guess I have mixed feelings about this one. I would need to think about it a little bit more. It doesn't look terrible. I don't know. What's it done? What's the share price done? So it's down 12% in the last year. It's up 10% so far this year. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. The dividend, the thing that I'm thinking about is the dividend going to be okay? Is the dividend well covered enough? And based on the payout ratio, the earnings payout ratio, not so much. Free cash flow payout ratio is still on the higher end, but still covered. So yeah. And then what's the dividend growth been like? I would, well, 5% on average. Okay. I mean, if they're able to maintain about this right here with a starting 3.7% yield in the consumer staples sector, I think that's pretty solid. But I would rather, if I'm going to go for something like this, I'd still rather own like Pepsi. Okay, let's catch up in the chat here. I'm almost caught up. Russ has a closing song. Now Kevin has a closing song. Are you going to have a closing song? I don't know. Maybe at some point. I've got an opening song, so that will have to do for now, I guess. But maybe at some point. Okay. Yeah, thank you for bringing up Flowers Foods. But anyway, guys, I think this is a good place to wrap it up for the night. So going to get out of here now, but thank you guys for hanging out with me this last hour. It was a fun stream as always. Definitely good to be back in the saddle, as they say. And you better believe we'll be back next Friday for episode 95. And we gotta figure out something fun to do for episode 100. I like the idea of having Russ on. Maybe I could get Kevin Burgess on the stream. We'll see what happens, but maybe something like that would be a lot of fun. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in with me this last hour. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and be on the lookout for Sunday's video. I've got a fun video coming out on Sunday, nice little portfolio update. And otherwise, you guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care.